Hello, guys, gals, loms. That kind of works. Well, I'm back. And in this relatively light envelope right here, we've got the barrel and blade knife of the month for January 2024. It is our second package of the month box to arrive. It arrived the same day as barrel and blade. So I'm kind of excited to see what we got because it feels like an odd shape. I don't know. So it is a Gerber, the Fastball in flat sage. Let me tell you about sage. Sage green is a standard Air Force color for stuff. It stands for something. I don't know what, so I'll make it up. Special Action Ground Enhancement. That's what it stands for. Special Action Ground Enhancement Green. Sage green. Okay, guys. True story time. So, sage green in the United States Air Force. Sorry I didn't put this in the original video. There was a general. His name was Curtis LeMay. He got the moniker Bombs Away LeMay because of his command of bombing units in World War II. He was the guy who engineered the firebombing of Tokyo, and he was the guy who was all the driving force, not all the driving force, but he was like, drop those atomic bombs. He was the second commander of Strategic Air Command. He was all in favor of all-out nuclear war in the Cuban Missile Crisis, and he was the commander of Strategic Air Command up until 1957, but he knew in 1953 that he was going to be the next Chief of Staff of the Air Force, the fifth Chief of Staff of the Air Force, taking over in 1957. He hated the fact that the Air Force came from the Army, and he hated the fact that the Air Force wore the same uniforms as the Army for the most part, especially his airmen on the ground, wearing OD green. At the same time, there was a new defense system that was jointly run between NORAD and Strategic Air Command called SAGE, Semi-Automatic Ground Environment, which was it was an interception system where ground controllers would identify, incoming Russian bombers, and then vector interceptors, and the computer system would basically fly the plane to the interception point, and all the pilot had to do was hit the fire button when he got there. At the same time that was being built, Curtis LeMay said, we are going to reinvent the Air Force. We are going to give up. He said, he was quoted as, I don't want anybody mistaking my airmen for dumb soldiers. So as he was transitioning to get ready to become the Chief of Staff in 1954, as SAGE was being developed, said, we need a new uniform for our airmen and our pilots. Pilots were wearing OD green flight suits and everything. And lo and behold, the color sage green took hold, all because of Curtis LeMay as they were developing the SAGE platform. Now, yes, sage green is a color, but the Air Force version of sage green is not what is listed by the hex code. If you look up sage green, it's a much grayer thing. So sage green, when I say it stood for something in the Air Force, it was different. It is a different shade of green to identify the Air Force from the Army, because Bombs Away LeMay absolutely did not want anybody in the Air Force looking like anyone in the Army. And the Air Force's big new thing, all the money was being spent on SAGE, and the newest pilots that were going to be outfitted, and the newest crew members that were going to be outfitted with new uniforms were going to be the Strategic Air Command / NORAD SAGE crews. Bam, there you go. The history of SAGE in the Air Force. Woohoo! So it is the Gerber Fastball in flat sage. Let me show you our specs right here. I'm liking what I see. S30V Wharncliffe blade. And looking upside down right now at the thing, I can't really tell. So we have ball bearings for consistent action. Okay. 3-position clip. Blade length's 3 inches. I don't know much about the handle. I don't know anything about this, but here we have this again, made in the USA. So that's cool. We like that. Very light feeling package. Light feeling package. Let's get in this. Let's see. We got some tape to cut in some places. All right. This is another huge box for a knife that definitely does not need that big a knife. Oh, it's aluminum. Okay. aluminium. You know, technically, both ways to pronounce that are correct, aluminum or aluminium. I looked it up, having deployed with British folks. So, let's see. What do we got in here? This is just standard stuff. This is a do not eat. This is a topo map inside the box. Got anything else in there? Gerber, Gerber, Gerber. Now, okay, so I've said this a bunch of times. I'm going to say it again. I feel like Gerbers tend to be overpriced. I really do. But this is a made in the USA one with, is this plastic or G10? I think it's plastic, but I'll find out in a minute. So this is definitely, this set, they tell you right there, this is MSRP. I'll figure out, you know, I'll do some searching after I edit or while I'm editing what we can find this for on the open market. Oh, it has Boss Tech, balls of stainless steel. I mean, even they're making some good innuendo jokes. So you gotta like it. I believe that the Fastball is something that you can get, like Gerber has their own custom shop, like Benchmade does, and you can get it customized and stuff. But it's a very nice, is this really sage green? I don't know. Nice flat finish on the aluminum anodization. I was going to say anodization and ano, and I just went, sorry, sometimes I mumble to myself. It is a really nice flat finish, though. It really is. It is a lightweight knife. Looks like centering is just a tad off. But clip is, wow. Well, no, okay, you can get in there a little bit. There we go. It's got a flipper. Everything is countersunk really well. This is a little bit proud compared to that one. It has, what does they say? A three-way clip. So there we go. So left or right, tip up, and then you could do a right tip down. Why can't you do a left tip down? Because of the pivot right there. I like the pivot. It's got a little design to it. EDC sized. Looks like my whole hand will fit on it. A little bit to spare, but it is pretty nice looking. Let's get it open. Interesting. Now, they call that a Wharncliffe? I don't call that a Wharncliffe. I just don't. I feel like a Warney comes to more of a less of a point. But, however, it's a very nice tumbled stonewash finish there. And it is made in the USA. We have very even bevels, so that's nice. It reminds me of a bigger Kershaw Link, blade shape anyway. I gotta say, no, no. Is that jimping? Does that even count? You can't even see. You sort of feel it with your nail. I got to figure out if this is. No, that's plastic. That backspacer is plastic. You get a little bit of grip over there, not a lot. That's interesting. So you got to keep full pressure on that. Otherwise, the detent kind of hits the liner as you're closing it. And it is, since it's a very thin liner, it's got some good jimping, but it does kind of bite into your thumb a little bit. Is there any play in this? No. Not happy with it being a little off center. Nice lockup, though. Action is pretty good, actually. Feels nice and snappy. I like the blade shape. I just don't find this to be very Wharncliffe-y myself. For EDC sized, I think it's great. Lightweight. Do we have skeletonization going on in there? I can't really tell. So there's only one liner, and that is for the liner lock itself. The other side is just your aluminum scale. No big whoop, you know. Just is what it is. It really does remind me of a leak for some reason. I feel like the centering's getting worse as we mess with it. and I don't feel any play in there, so I don't want to mess with the pivot. Maybe it's not getting worse. I think it was just the angle I was looking at it. I think it's the same, a little bit off center. That's going to drive me nuts anyway, though. It is, I would say, 1 millimeter or 2 off center. Maybe 1.5 millimeters. But, I mean, the action is still very good. It's not like it's scraping against anything. Probably just a little tightening on the pivot. And because we got bearings, I'm sure it will work just as well. And, you know, drop a KPL in there to keep it going. Let me just give you the full view. Oh, I love that the tumble on the spine looks really good too. So this is something I imagine myself carrying around. It definitely is, because it's lightweight, because it's slim, because my hand, even though it's smaller EDC size, my hand does grip around the whole thing, and it's comfortable. Finished well. I would still probably give it a little bit of a strop, just to put just a little bit more of a laser beamy razor edge on there. I think it could be refined just a little bit, but that's very nice, and that's very nice. Pew, 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 pew. Pew's very nice. It's a decent knife. It's a pretty good knife. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Gerber knives. Love their multi-tools. Not a huge fan of their knives. But this one, I think I'm going to give an opportunity. I think I'm going to give it a chance. Carry it around, and we'll see how it goes. Just, I love the finish on the blade. So, there we go. Still got to check on the price, but it's got a lifetime warranty, made in the USA. Awesome. Gerbers are always overpriced as far as I'm concerned. They're knives. Always. Gerbers and who else? Someone else. SOGs. Always overpriced for what you get. But S30V is nothing to sneer at, though. Great steel. This ano, I'm sure, is going to get, you know, you keep this in your pocket with anything else, it's going to get scratched up. But, you know, that just shows some life and character. Anyway, fellow subscribers to the Barrel and Blade Knife of the Month, how do you feel about our knife this month? Those who don't subscribe, what do you think of just the knife itself? Is this something you would want, something you would carry, something you'd spend your own money on? I am happy. I'm happier than I have been with some other knives. We've gotten a lot of SOGs. I like this one. It's a little bit different. I like it, honestly, better than last month's knife. And this is something I am actually likely to carry myself and enjoy. So there is a link to Barrel and Blade, the Knife of the Month Club, because I really like Barrel and Blade. I'm happy with money going to them. And it's one of my favorite subscriptions. And they've been doing a lot better lately. I feel like they've been really trying hard and doing a lot better. So check it out if you want. If you don't, you know, whatever. So please do tell me what you guys think of this knife in general, this knife as the Barrel and Blade Knife of the Month. All your thoughts. Tell me all your thoughts on knives, because I really want to meet them. I tried, guys. I tried. So anyway, thanks for watching. Remember that you guys are all absolutely awesome, and I appreciate every single one of you, and I'll be back again real soon.